Okay, let's do the review on the front fatty tire, the how come, the why, and what it's like to run an 18-inch 4.10 by 18 tire on an adventure bike. So the history of this is that I was in the San Rafael riding my side-by-side with my wife and family one day, and we were out there and I ran across two guys, one on a 790 Adventure and one, I think he was on a 690, KTM 690, and they were getting with it. They were ripping through the trails on some pretty rough stuff. Anyway, they come up pretty close to us. I went over and talked to them, as I usually do, and noticed something weird about their bikes, and they were both running these exact same 18-inch tires. And so we got talking about it, and he got telling me about it and why they did it, and a couple of things. So number one, it takes a lot of shock out of your arms. They're more stable in the sand and the ruts, and for off-road, desert, two-track, gravel roads, these two guys swore by it. They said they're just great, there's nothing like it, give it a try. So I did. So they had both built their rims from Tusk rims, and again they ordered their spokes from Spoke Place. I'll put it in the comments. I'll make sure there's a link to it. And they ordered their hub and everything from Tusk. So I started to do a little research about these fatties and tried to find something online or with somebody that had experience with these other than the two guys I met out in the desert. And believe me, there's nothing. There was nothing out there. And I decided I was going to try it just because I like to try new things. So I have a buddy who has a buddy and knows a guy at Warp 9, and he built that rim for me, and they thought I was crazy. But he did a really good job. It came with the brakes, the speedometer dial down there, heavy duty rim and spokes, all the little adapters and spacers. And yeah, it was a little pricey, but I'll bet they'll do it cheaper now that they have a couple built, or at least one built. And anyway, so I threw it on there, and I had the low fender on. You can see there's just not very much room under that fender. That's a big tire. And it filled that low fender clear up. There was minimal clearance on the sides. So I took it off, and I had just put this Anarchy Wild. And I finally got a high fender and put it on, and I put the 18-inch back on, the fatty, and rode it for a little while, put the 21-inch back on and rode it for a while, and believe me, the first time you take off on that 18-inch fatty, it's like weird. I mean, I rode out just to the main roadway there and stopped and got off and looked. It had a floating effect. It's like that front end was just floating, real weird. So anyway, I didn't know if I was gonna like it, but I rode it a lot. I have put a lot of miles on now. Well, not a lot, but over 1,000 miles on that front tire, and I rode on some real rough terrain. I experimented with air. The guys that I talked to says they run theirs between 8 and 12 pounds, and they may air them up a little bit and run them down the highway when they need to go fast. Both of them have rode that wheel and that tire 75 down the freeway, and I would air it up, and I have when I run mine that fast. All right, so let's finish up this video. I'm going to roll this out of the way. You can see both sides of that fatty. It's a big old tire. So would I go back to the 21? Well, I haven't. I've had this on now for a couple of months, well over 1,000 miles, and I don't know, I just have no desire to go back to the 21. If I were to ride a lot of road, I would go back to the 21. And then I get thinking, I don't even know if I do that. I can ride this 70 miles an hour. And for me, most of the time, that's plenty fast. There are two things for sure. One, on rocks, this tire rocks. If you're riding some ledgy, hard, rocky type stuff, this absorbs the rocks. It's easier to steer and keep the bike up if you're riding this fatty on rocks. Second thing is sand. So sand, I've come a long way on sand with the 21-inch tire. I don't fear sand anymore. Even with this 21-inch tire and the other ones I've had. You know, there was that, for 2 years, that feeling of, sand, really? I don't know. Anyway, I finally rode enough and got through it to where I didn't fear the sand. I sometimes didn't like it. But with the fatty, I don't care about sand anymore. And I would like to think it's my riding that I've gotten that much better. If you watch my White Rim Trail videos and out to Hurrah Pass, White Rim had a lot of sand, quite a bit of sand, and it was nothing. It was just nothing for this tire and me. So let's just say my riding's gotten really good and the tire is nothing, but we all know better. Thank you. Through these rocks. Yeah. This isn't all that fun, but I remember this. If there were another way to get around this, I'd do it. I'll have to remember next time.